Alright everyone, this is Mindflexer here, and I'm coming to you with some tips and tricks. This is going to be the first video. Hopefully I can just go ahead and get right to it. I'm not going to be all fancy, make a whole script and everything, but let's just go ahead and talk about the settings. First things that we have to get through so that everyone could have the best settings out there. I know there's a lot of videos out there, but hey, might as well make one myself, and maybe there's something you haven't seen or heard from the ones I've been looking at. I love to mess with settings, and there's so many in this game that they even added a search bar. But let's go ahead, and the most important thing I believe in this game is audio. Now, if you're on PC, I believe personally the best setting for PC is PC. But if you are on console, definitely headphone bass boost. I can also use headphone bass boost. It's almost the same as using PC, but I just don't like how it's EQ'd with the heavy amount of bass. But this headphone bass boost for consoles is pretty neat. Your voice chat, now since I'm on PC, I use NVIDIA Broadcast. This right here noise filters out a lot of the crazy, hot, messy mics from console players. So this will clean it up really nice for you. If you're using, if you're playing on PC, I mean, obviously push to talk if you're on PC, pretty nice. I have this as a second bind so that if I'm using controller, I can just use my pinky and press that little arrow. Use proximity chat when I want to. For some reason, voice chat in this game is super loud. I'm not sure if it's on console as well, but I have to set it at 4. Definitely, set your right microphone and everything. Make sure your mic's working and everything like that. For interface, this is a little bit about the visuals here. Let's go ahead and center dot on. Center dot scale default. You can make it way bigger, but this right here helps so that your crosshair in the game is straight. That way it helps you with having better aim and it doesn't confuse you or anything like that. Color customization. You can change all your colors here for everything you want, obviously. Filter 2 is the best one, I believe. It keeps all the colors natural. And 75 is a pretty good setting for it not to look too saturated. So graphics is a whole another ballgame. This right here, this is all self-preference basically, depending on what your hardware is, what specs you got on your PC or your console. I don't know, I'm not sure if on console you could even change all these things. Pretty sure you can't. But right here, field of view, this is self-preference as well. Field of view, depending on what you want. I have a smaller monitor than most people do. I believe I have like 27-inch. Getting a little higher already, it's like kind of getting hard to see people on the screen. So I would rather just leave it at 110 at least, or even 100, but my sensitivity is already set for this field of view, so I don't change it. Now definitely camera shake, camera movement, bring it all the way down. It's gonna help a ton. The third person, I never play third person. The ADS field of view though, definitely affected. Independent will make it that your sight will get narrow according to what sight you're using on the gun. So you wanna at least have it on affected so that you can have the most field view possible while you're aiming down sights. And also this takes away a lot of visual recoil when you set it to affected. And the same thing goes for wide. If you set it to narrow, it's gonna make it more close, and you're gonna get you're not gonna be able to see around you while you're aiming and shooting better than when you have it out wide. Also helps with the visual recoil as well. So now if you're on mouse and keyboard, depending on what DPI you have and everything, you set your sensitivity to hover. I love to measure my sensitivity on every game same way by just going from the left side of my mouse pad all the way to the right. And if I'm doing the same amount of turn radius, that's what my sensitivity is going to be in that game. That's how I do it. You can use all these fancy calculators online and stuff like that, and they want to charge you for it, but that's the easiest way. And yeah, I would never pay a website to calculate each sensitivity for each game for me. I do have custom sensitivity per view. I go to a 1-to-1 ratio on my hip and ADS sensitivity. So the same way or speed from one side to the other on the screen is the same on my ADS. That's how I like it. I want to be able to move right and left the same speed as if I was on my hip, so it wouldn't feel any different. So obviously each ADS, the more zoom you have, it's gonna be slower, but you still want it to be as fast as if you're off and you're on your hip. If you understand what I'm saying, I could show you guys actually, but that's a whole nother thing. I'm trying to make this a little shorter because that's way more in depth. Controller, I do play on controller. I'm not gonna say I'm amazing, but since there's so much aim assist on this game, it's not hard to play on controller at all. Like, you literally don't have to be so. I'm not saying that you don't need skill for controller, but this game really makes it easy for you to just pick up a controller and start playing and get kills and everything. So I do like to have a 8 horizontal. I like to have faster horizontal than my vertical, so that way if there's any recoil on any gun, I can control the recoil easier by having the vertical slower. And then I have the ADS sensitivity multiplier set to 130, but I don't use any per zoom optic sensitivity, so it's just, I let it just do that all by itself. Now my aim assist, I'm using Black Ops. I feel like that's the best one. If you really want something that you need, like you feel like you're horrible and your aim sucks, definitely go for the focusing one, you know. As my controller, I would definitely recommend getting Control Freaks extenders on your analog stick, on your right analog stick at least, the one that you use for aiming. Then you definitely want to use the dynamic, because this helps you be, as you can read right there, is a reverse S-curve mapping for fine aim rate control. You could be more accurate and want to aim wherever you want to aim, not the game like controlling every little input. Where the heck are the input dead zones? Right here. So my left, so the left one is for you to move back and forth. So I definitely have that at 15, so I don't like move by itself or anything. If you're like on a ledge or something on Warzone, you don't fall off the roof. The right stick, I have it at 5. You don't get drift, but you get the best response. And you, as soon as you start giving it input, it's gonna start moving for you. This right here, at 50% on my analog stick, when I go left or right, it's gonna give it 100% input. And then right here, the right stick is normal default, I believe is 0.95. And the left triggers, I just set it for the right there. That's just for shooting and aiming on sights. I do have bumper trigger stops or whatever, so if you mess with these and you have trigger stops, for some reason it doesn't let you aim or shoot, so it's kind of weird. I would just leave it there like that. I have a automatic tactical sprint on, I believe. Where is that at? I believe it's in the over here. Yeah, I have that on, so I automatically tactical sprint. If you have a problem with like saying I don't want to run all the time, you could just crouch and move while you're crouched. Easy as that. Right here, I have the invert slide and the dive behavior inverted. So I just tap to dive and then I hold it to crouch slide. Pretty good. With the mouse and keyboard, there are some key bindings here. I believe on movement. I have a key just for diving. You can do that. There is a combat, I think. It's not here. It's in gameplay. Combat behaviors. Definitely want to go and sprint, pause, reload. You want to turn that off. I cannot find this setting for controllers. Only for mouse and keyboard. I don't know why controllers don't have the option to turn it off, but mouse and keyboard does have the option to turn it off. So you can reload and keep sprinting, which is pretty nice. All right, and that is, I believe that's it for the settings. This is the first video, tips and tricks just for settings.